Torrential rains this spring are leaving communities worldwide devastated. Here in the United States and Texas, one 5-year-old boy was killed. Several hundred people rescued from floodwaters. In southern Brazil, the worst floods in 80 years left at least 75 people dead, more than 100 people missing. And in Kenya, more than 200 people are dead, and throughout East Africa, as many as 200,000 people are homeless. Well, here with more details is CBN Kenya Director Peter Kamaru. I know flooding destroyed homes, devastated crops in Nakuru County. Was that from a burst dam? What happened there?
Oh, yes, Gary. I mean, it's been an eventful couple of weeks here in Kenya. The torrential rains have really caused a lot of flooding, and rightfully, as you said, unfortunately, over 200 lives have been lost because of the flooding. In Western Kenya, there's some dams that actually rivers that overflowed, and then there was one dam that broke in Nakuru County that actually caused a lot of harm. In Nairobi, we also have one of the second largest informal settlements, that's the slums in Mathare, that also experienced one of the rivers that busted banks, and we had a lot of families affected in that informal settlement, which is where Operation Blessing just recently responded to, and I was able to assist some families there with the flooding.
Well, tell us more about that, because you wouldn't expect flooding in Nairobi. Tell us about the flooding there and what you did.
That's very true, Gary. Nairobi is one of the areas that usually is not affected so much, but this time around, the informal sector, where we already have vulnerable families. So Operation Blessing was able to work collaboratively with Orphans Promise. Orphans Promise have a partner that they work with in the slums of Nairobi. So we reached out to that partner, who was able to help us identify families that have been affected by the flooding. So our target was over 500 families, and we started the preparations for responding to those families. This past Saturday, we bought blankets, food relief. Each family was getting about 25 kgs, enough food to last them for about a month. Some water treatment tablets. We had water jerry cans and also mosquito nets. So we were able to do the distribution this past Sunday. Over 500 families benefited from that. And, this is truly thanks to our donors who were able to give towards the disaster relief. And, these families were able to get the much needed relief.
Well, and we've heard reports that next door, Tanzania and eastern Kenya, we're going to be hit with a Cyclone Hidayah. It caused your president to close schools in Mombasa. So what's the latest on that cyclone?
Correct. We are glad to say that we received reports that Cyclone Hidayah has weakened. We've been monitoring that cyclone. So that's a sigh of relief. Actually, Kenya has been spared from getting most of it. Tanzania will still get some rains, but it's not as severe as had been anticipated. So we really give glory to God for that. But yes, actually, even in Kenya, the president gave a directive late towards the end of last week to still close all the schools, which were expected to reopen last week because of the flooding. So we are watching that and still keeping an eye, because we're still getting some rains in Kenya, but Tanzania as well. And to see, any way Operation Blessing can respond to assist, families.
Well, it's not letting up, the rains there and the flooding. So what are the plans moving forward for Operation Blessing Kenya?
The plans are to, as we are able to identify areas that need support, just to also let you know, even the slums that we responded to, we were there a couple of days earlier before doing the relief. Operation Blessing was generating. We created a station to generate chlorine, which was being distributed to families there to help with, because the flooding, is getting into houses. Some houses are not completely wiped off, but that water is still contaminated. So we're helping families with chlorine to help keep the areas clean and sanitized. And we'll continue monitoring, even for Tanzania, to see where we have an opportunity to respond as Operation Blessing. And once we identify that, we'll be able to move in and give the necessary support.
Okay, thank you, Peter Kamaro, CBN Kenya Director. God bless you as you reach out to help flood victims in East Africa.
Thank you very much, Gary.